U.S. President Donald Trump has now focused his immigration policy on 500,000 Haitians living in the United States under temporary legal protection, even as CARICOM leaders consider the challenges related to long delay elections in the French-speaking Caribbean nations. The wider CARICOM region is expected to be impacted by Washington's immigration policy, with CARICOM leaders noting at the summit that every country has a right to enforce its immigration laws. The leaders say, however, they are aware of the socio-economic situation that follows such a policy. They noted that Trump's move against undocumented immigrants comes even as Washington has also reduced funding for projects that have benefited the region. St. Kitts Nevis Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Denzil Douglas, a former long-standing Prime Minister, says CARICOM is asking that proper protocols be followed. He's also suggesting dialogue with the Trump administration.
As we would have done in the past, where names of prospective immigrants would be, or deportees I should say, would be submitted to our missions in Washington and processed at Capitol, and then the appropriate action taken. And we believe we can achieve this because this is something that we've worked on in the past, and I believe that once we can dialogue on issues like this, then of course it would be better for all of us.
But you've never dialogued with somebody like Trump?
Well, we've dialogued with persons who have held the office before and persons who have been Secretary of State. In fact, one of the immediate things that I think need to be done is for us as Caribbean leaders, Caribbean governments, to seek an early opportunity to speak with the administration at the highest level.
Antigua and Barbados Prime Minister Gaston Brown acknowledges the problem for the region.
Well, that's nothing new. I'm told actually under the Obama administration that more Caribbeans are actually deported than the list that we've seen recently under the Trump administration. I think we have an obligation to accept our citizens who are deported. At the end of the day, we cannot make them stateless. So at this point, based on the quantities that I've seen, I don't think it is extraordinary. And we just have to make sure that there's collaboration at the regional level to ensure that those involved in criminal activities, that they do not get the opportunity to travel freely within the CARICOM space and to create problems for us.
Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Philip Davis, said that the Caribbean has to be careful not to get involved in any geopolitical issues that could affect the region negatively.
Well, I know we just have to work with what we have. I mean, I've not seen any crack or even splitter or not even a whimper of challenge yet, but we have to see how things evolve. I don't think we intend to get involved in any geopolitical issues. I think their challenges are not with us, but with other of the major powers in the world. And we continue to try to take a non-aligned position, and we hope that that we are not drawn unwittingly into any of the spat that occurs as a result of their views on worldviews.
Montserrat's Premier Ruben Meade, who has returned to Caribbean politics after a 10-year hiatus, said regional countries worry too much about the United States. He noted that there are other players in the world.
We worry too much about the U.S. when in fact there are other players in the world. So if the U.S. is giving us problems, let's look elsewhere. Granted, they are the focal point for our tourism industry, but they're tourists that are available from other parts of the world, and therefore we have to now spread our wings, so to speak, and look to other markets, look to other regions for what we want.
Trump has frozen funding and ordered a review of the operations of USAID, the U.S. aid agency. In 2023, that agency gave over $460 million in development assistance to the Caribbean. That amount was just under 1% of USAID's total disbursement for that year and less than 0.1% of the total aid program of the U.S. government. Haiti was the primary beneficiary, receiving $390 million US, Jamaica followed with $26 million, and Belize with $20 million. Beyond these, United States' contribution to CARICOM has declined sharply, including to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, whose Prime Minister, Dr. Raul González, said the presence of the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, at this year's summit is not coincidental.
I'm quite sure that in the new complicated situation with the foreign policy of the United States, that in caucus there would be a discussion on that. Clearly, this morning, when the President of the European Commission, our dear friend Ursula, came by, and she alluded to that very complication. And right-thinking persons may not unreasonably ask, if it were not for the kind of confusion, uncertainty, say, between the United States and Europe, whether or not the President of the European Commission would have been here. Of course, we have had people before, senior people from the European Commission.
The leaders are expected to brief the media later on Friday on the outcome of their deliberations about elections in Haiti, the U.S. immigration policy, and other matters.